Darrell Jazz Johnson here, the Gospel Herald, CitySportsReport.com, here with a man that needs no introduction, but who has added another institution to your title, Stephen A. Smith from ESPN and SiriusXM. This is like a holiday for us. First day here at Madison Square Garden, the opening of the 2014-2015 season. What are your thoughts on the Knicks this season?
I think they'll be improved, but not so much where we should get excited about them making a deep run into the playoffs or anything like that. I think this is one of those situations where the New York Knicks will improve by about 4 or 5 games. I think they've got a system in place. I think they've got structure. I think having Phil Jackson preside over the organization, no nonsense is going to be taking place. None of that stuff's going to be tolerated. I think they all understand that they're going to need to be on the same page, or at least come across that way, because if you give any indication that you're anything other than a team, Phil Jackson's going to get rid of you. And so because of that, you've got discipline, you've got structure, and anytime you're trying to build a foundation for something, it starts there. So that's a plus, and I think that combine that with the fact that you've been able to keep Carmelo Anthony, somebody that I think is going to excel extraordinarily well within the triangle offense, I definitely think it's a plus for them.
Now, let's take a look at the Eastern Conference. Obviously, with the Cavaliers getting LeBron James and Kevin Love, a lot of people think they are the favorites, but the team that's here playing the Knicks tonight, the Chicago Bulls, are arguably right there or even better. What are your thoughts on who's going to come out of the East this year?
I picked the Chicago Bulls to win the East and to represent the East in the NBA Finals. I think that when you look at the nucleus of this team, without Derrick Rose, they went to the playoffs, and they were the leading team defensively in the NBA. Well, what are you going to do with Derrick Rose? I think that Derrick Rose is an added dimension of the highest order. I think that if you look at LeBron as being a one as it pertains to him arriving in Cleveland, then Derrick Rose is a 1A. I mean, he's that lethal to the Chicago Bulls, for the Chicago Bulls. And his return I think bodes well for them. When you combine that with the fact that Pau Gasol is now a member of this roster, and you still have Joakim Noah, and you still have Taj Gibson, and you still have Jimmy Butler, even though he's not going to be available for the season opener, I think that bodes incredibly well for the Chicago Bulls. And I look at Cleveland, even though I know they can score on anybody and score in bunches, I think the problem is that defensively they're going to have some struggles. Chicago's not going to have any struggles defensively. This is what they do with Tom Thibodeau. So I think that gives them the edge, and I think that would give them the edge come postseason.
Final question: the Western Conference, so much talent, so many great teams. Who do you think will be standing in the end in the NBA Finals?
Me personally, I picked the Los Angeles Clippers. I know that the San Antonio Spurs are a better team. They're the reigning defending NBA champions. Tim Duncan's got 5 rings. Ginobili and Parker have 4. It's just that everything went right for them last year. Greg Popovich limited every single player to 30 minutes or less. He did a masterful job of managing and monitoring their minutes, making sure they were fresh for the postseason. He's to be commended for that. But I don't see that happening 2 years in a row. And I do believe that there comes a point in time when it's somebody else's time. And I think when it comes to the Los Angeles Clippers, this is their time. They have arguably the best point guard in the game in terms of floor generalship in Chris Paul. They have a superstar in the making in Blake Griffin if he continues to ascend the way he's been ascending. You've got a shot blocker extraordinaire and a leading rebounder in the league in DeAndre Jordan. And even though he's a liability in the fourth quarter, what you did was then turn around and acquired a 7-footer in Spencer Hawes who can step out on the perimeter and shoot. What that does is that frees up room for Blake Griffin to operate in the post. It frees up room for Chris Paul to drive into the lane and do his thing. And the combination of all of that, I think, spells huge pluses for the Los Angeles Clippers, who we also know are exceptionally well coached by Doc Rivers. So I think if it was ever a time when it was their year, this would be it for the Los Angeles Clippers. And that's why I picked them to come out of the Western Conference, especially when you got a new owner now. It ain't Donald Sterling. And not only is it a new owner who's got money, but I'm talking about money that you can't really count. This is a dude that overpaid by $800 million there was nobody else willing to offer the Clippers more than $1.2 million, and Steve Ballmer came in and offered them $2 billion. And the first thing he did, unsolicited, without request, was rip up the contract of Doc Rivers and sign him to a new 5-year, $50 million deal just to let everybody know, this is my guy, he's not going anywhere, he's the man that will be running this franchise, and that is that. When you see something like that, man, that's just special. And to me, all the ingredients are there, and I interviewed Chris Paul today, and he's like, look, it's championship or bust. We got to do it. And that's simple. I think he understands. I think they understand. And I think they're going to respond to the challenge.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks a lot, guys.